Hi, this is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. Hope you enjoyed this critical thought, a detailed discussion on game design, and be sure to subscribe and you can pitch future critical thought topics. For today's critical thought, we're going to be talking about the topic of timed content or limited time content and how it relates to game design and motivating someone to play. We were talking about this on the live stream this past week, but this is one of my pet peeves when it comes to video games, and it's one thing that I just do not like. Now, when referring to time-based content like this, we can talk about things in several directions. We can talk about pre-order bonuses, which of course are limited time only, and of course we can talk about elements in video games, and that's one that I want to focus on. Video games, or what we've seen over the last few years, especially with the rise of games as a service, free-to-play monetization, there's been growing ways of adding in limited time content or limited time rewards to motivate someone to either spend money or log in and play a game. Anyone who's played just about any browser-based or free-to-play title over the last 4 or 5 years has probably seen those bonuses of the day elements, where every day consecutively that you log in, you get a better reward. And if you log in, let's say, 15 or 20 days in a row, you get some kind of major reward, and then the whole cycle starts over again. This is basically a way of getting someone to log in and hopefully try to motivate them to play the game. Because once they're in the game, maybe they'll log in for a match or two. Now, other ways of having limited time content is in the form of one of my least favorite elements, timed missions, and not to be confused with timed as in you have 5 minutes to beat a level. We're talking about things that are only offered for a set number of days. We can see this in a lot of titles, from Hitman 2016 with the special assassinations, to of course holiday theme events in Overwatch, Team Fortress, and probably more free-to-play titles than I can think of right now. The common point, though, is you only have a set number of real-time days, or real-world days, I should say, to access this content, and then it's gone. Some cases it may come back, for seasonal or yearly events, but in some other points it just may not exist anymore. And that's the thing that always bothers me about time-based content like this, is that it puts pressure on the user to log in and play a game when they may or may not have the time to do it. I'm sure for those of you watching this that you, as well as I do, know that real-world issues can get in the way of playing video games. And it's nothing like, or there's nothing like having your favorite game have some awesome event for 1 week, and you're, on a business trip, or maybe your children are sick and you can't log in to play. And of course, the more elaborate the event is, the more time they expect you to log in and play. We talked about in an earlier critical thought about gacha design, and this is another major part of that. Having special events where maybe the acquire rate is doubled, or a unique dungeon that has special characters that are available, but only for a few days. And there may even be the added, they may do a double or double down by having these special bonuses require a little bit more money to access. But of course, you're doing it for a set time, so you better get in. Now, we can also see this in actual design terms by having events or mechanics in-game that operate on a real-world schedule or a real-time schedule. Now, many video games, of course, will simulate or abstract time. You could say, here's something like in Stardew Valley, where different crops will grow at different rates during the month. But that's all abstracted to the in-game time. And an in-game day could maybe take 5-10 minutes, depending upon how you play. But in some cases, but in the ones we're talking about, these are elements where if the game says this will take 4 days, 5 hours, it will literally take 4 days and 5 hours for this to happen. Unless, of course, if you spend money or get a special discount. And some designers or some people will say that this is a way of preventing someone from just spending too much time in a game. By having these higher and higher time curves or time walls, that someone's not just going to sit on their phone or stare at the computer and just play a game for endless hours. On the other hand, we of course know that this is another means of selling monetization. Wait 5 hours or spend 25 cents. And again, you can see this heavily in free-to-play titles. Now, one example of this from not a monetization point of view, and what we talked about, is the game State of Decay. In State of Decay, you're basically running a base during the zombie apocalypse. You assign people to tasks, you take them out to help you, and of course if someone dies, they're gone for good. And what the game does is, in order to basically maintain your base and keep supplies going, you have to sign in on a day-to-day basis to issue commands and make sure orders are being carried out. If you don't do that, your people may grow depressed and either work less efficiently, or something bad will happen to them. And this is one thing that, when I heard about this after I tried playing the demo or the tutorial State of Decay, that just killed the game for me. Because as I've talked about, when I play video games, I tend to play them in bursts. You know, an hour or two here, and then maybe nothing for the day, or maybe nothing for many hours down the line. But the point is, I don't like a game telling me that I have to sign in at set periods in order to gain a bonus, or even just to play the game at an adequate level. So my challenge for those of you watching this right now, can you think of a game that benefited from having limited time mechanics or elements? Now, I can think of one of my favorite games, The World Ends With You, that provided an experience bonus. But this was more or less just a passive element. It wasn't actively engaging or changing how I played this game. Now, another example of this would be from something like Bravely Default, and the sequel, I think, Bravely Second, that had those elements where you would assign people to work on a town, and then as the town would upgrade, it would unlock more stuff for you to buy, but it also used real-world constraints. And again, it kind of just felt like an artificial barrier to giving me the good stuff. And that's one of the big points about these kinds of time mechanics, or these time-based content, is that it doesn't really make the game better, at least not from what I'm seeing. It's just more or less gating what you can and can't do in a title. Going back to Hitman 2016, I was talking about this on the live stream, but I thought a better way of handling would be just unlock the stuff, and then let me choose when I can play it, and then just keep the one time or one attempt rule. That way there's still pressure to play it, but it's not pressured by my day-to-day schedule. So we're going to wrap things up here. Again, this is a quick topic because there's not much meat on the bone here other than talking about the monetization side. And as I said at the start, pre-ordering is a major part of this, but that is another topic in of itself. So for those of you watching this, again, what do you think about limited time content? Are you a fan of it? Or are you like me and rather play games at your own pace? But thanks for watching today's Critical Thought. If you are new and you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you have a suggestion for a future topic, please let me know. But otherwise, check back daily for more great discussions on design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Before we go for tonight, one last example that I almost forgot but definitely needs to be mentioned when we talk about limited time-based content in games. And that's when developers actually really will double dip on monetization and a limited time. And my big example, and one that I've talked about before, is from Marvel Puzzle Quest. Marvel Puzzle Quest features a tournament-style PvP mode where basically your team of characters goes up against another team. And as you win matches, you earn points. If your team loses matches, you lose points. And whoever has the highest points at the end of whatever the amount of days the tournament is, if I remember right, I think it was like 2 to 3 days per tournament, the top 10 players, or they have different brackets of winners. So let's say 1 to 100 gets the super rare reward, 101 to 300 gets the rare reward, 301 higher gets common, and then anything above 600 gets nothing. So what they do is, or they did, is you have the option to buy a shield. And I know this is not the only game that has done this, but this is the one that I know of. The shield prevents anyone from attacking your team, thereby locking in your points. But the only way to purchase the shield is using the premium currency, or the currency that you have to spend money on. And here's the thing. There is no other way to protect your points other than just basically, actually no, that's wrong. You can't protect your points because even if you are playing, because of how fast or how many people are playing in like the last hour or so of the game or the tournament, your points are just going to be hammered constantly because you're not in direct control. So even if you win, it's like I win and get 30 points, but my team loses and I lose 80 points. And this can be happening over seconds or even over like the span of one match. So this would not only be an example of limited time-based content that is very bad for the player, but it's also a really good example of pay-to-win strategies as well. Because the only way you're going to be able to afford or get the best rewards is to spend money. But that's all I wanted to throw in, so once again, thanks for watching, and see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course share with your friends, it always helps out. For daily posts on all manner of game design and industry topics, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the site and everything that I do, be sure to check out the Patreon campaign. If we can hit goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy, and I'll be able to support myself and my household. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at GWBycer for updates throughout the day and random thoughts from me. And lastly, you can find me on Twitch right over there at GWBycer for daily streams most nights around 10 Eastern. Thanks again for watching the video, and be sure to check out more great content coming to the Game Wisdom channel real soon.